I'm also on YouTube. I figured out my YouTube again. It was not behaving for me. I replaced my machine. Anyway, let's have some divination. Hi, Savior. How are you today? I have some somatic cards based on the divination, the zodiac from China. And I have the Voynich Manuscript in front of me, which we can also hang out with as well. So I wanted to share some of this divination, some of the logic behind the numbering and the ordering and how the complex mechanics of Chinese zodiac works, because all of this goes to organs in our body. All of it does. It also goes to different ideas that China has historically about evolution and just being people together. Look at that. So the main divination from China is called Lo Shu, Loshu, and it's a magic 3x3 square. It is tic-tac-toe that you always win. Tic-tac-toe that you always win. I didn't even know that it exists until this past summer. I had already come up with a really great 9 concept grid to contemplate consciousness and multidimensionality. And then when I discovered the Lo Shu, all I had to do was move my parts around a little bit and they fit perfectly. And the 3 main ideas are biotensegrity, which has to do with our living tissue, with our fascia, tensegrity, which has to do with how we build things and how we keep things resilient, as well as how our body has resilience. And then the third thing is shentegrity, which is Katie's shortcuts for all things alchemy in China, because as it turns out, it all works through the same kind of logic I would put into either programming or like seeding a neural network or building a universe from scratch, like a whole new environment for a human to contemplate, which, by the way, is essentially a search engine. That's what we were doing at Yahoo. But we had to do it through consciousness because we didn't have ChatGPT. No, we had to do it all by hand. And that turned me into a very good organizer of concepts, not a very good organizer of objects, but definitely of concepts. And that main idea in Chinese medicine, let me get you this picture because you're going to love it. Okay. This is the cover of the primary alchemical text that I use when I want to look at the philosophy. Look at this guy. Isn't he? Look, he has his little frog with him. It's actually a dragon. He's got a dragon. And then he has these flowers, these magic flowers. This is from the Canton Key. It's this is the book of Taoism, which started long before Chinese medicine, but is also Chinese medicine. So this whole divination thing, it just goes from 1 to 9. I wrote some down for you so that you can see it. I encourage you to come to the Sundays. There is a donation. You don't have to pay if you can't or don't want to. I do not mind. I just want you there so you can learn some of this. This is the physics of it, and I had to change that. But here we have 9 dimensions or 9 cells. Cell like a cell that has a cell wall, not cell like a prison. Okay, from a cell like a wall perspective, let me give you a bagua, actually. No, let me do it regular time. This is life path. So this has to do with like existing. This has to do with partnership and relations. This is related to that tensegrity idea. Do you see how it's a number 2? That is a sneaky trick. It's a sneaky little trick. This 2 is actually a 3. This 2 represents the 2 points in a tensegrity structure that are fixed. And I should have a model here for you. My cat says hi. She would like to know why she's not outside. And I just found Women Who Run with the Wolves, which is an amazing book for those of us who aren't quite normal. So this is a tensegrity model. If you spend a couple moments or minutes, I'm not sure what your perspective is. This is a Merkaba in shape. But as a tensegrity structure, instead of looking at the faces of the Merkaba, we're looking at the structures that help the Merkaba. And these 2 points here, this is 2, Lo Shu 2. Because Lo Shu 2 gets us to the fixed points, and then all the other Lo Shu numbers and everything dimensionally from 3 above. In Chinese medicine, Chinese cosmology, Chinese geometry, very much in the practice of the golden elixir, which is achievable. I did not do it on purpose, but it is achievable, is based on like building these kinds of matrices in the mind so that the matrix of the brain, which does have a matrix, our brain, friends, has infinitely like infolding properties. It folds in on itself. And the brain on the planet that has the most folds is one of the animals on the planet that also experiences menopause. And that is an orca whale. Or no, they're dolphins, right? Yeah, orca or dolphins. They have the wormiest brain. They have the noodliest, the noodly appendages of the noodliest brain, even more than ours. And how that occurs is through general processes of tensegrity. And so if you've ever had like a scar or an adhesion in your fascia, let's pretend like these are fascia pieces. I've had money and much. Sometimes they get stuck, right? Sometimes there's a scar. And so it influences how much it can move. This is not going to be able to squish as much as its counterparts. So tensegrity is a way to contemplate resilience structurally, which gives you and me, I don't know how many of us besides me experience complex trauma. I'm autistic. I have like 27 different kinds of synesthesia. My brain does not operate as usual. So instead of defective or what's the other one they give us? Disorder. I have these 4 categorizations that I'm going to give us a whole new taxonomy for. Yes, Pandora is back. Hello, and I hope everybody here on the YouTube can you can like do the typey thing, and I can see you. Yeah. Nice to meet you too. Hi, Pandora. I just said call Pandora because Pandora is a gift box. So tensegrity is the concept, okay? Some parts of tensegrity cannot move. This cannot move, okay? I cannot change the fact that my brother, my mother, and I, all 3 died during childbirth, and they brought all of us back. I cannot, that is a thing that has happened in my life. I cannot change the fact that I was born white. That is how it happened. So from an idea perspective, some of these nodes in tensegrity, people want us to be like, oh no, like this is true, but that's also true. And therefore that's the whole model of dialectic. Any dialectic is going to synthesize into one of these triangles. But we also need a negative dialectic so that we can do other things with these structures. So a negative dialectic says some of these things cannot be changed, and let's leverage that. Politically, I forgot that I had, I don't think I read his work, this one in grad school. I studied a lot of Michel Foucault and Theodore Adorno in grad school. Theodore Adorno came up with the fascism scale. There were like 6 factors of fascism for Theodore Adorno. He was after Marx, okay, kicking around in post-war Britain, but he was in Germany. And he said, dear Karl Marx, thank you so much for your big ideas about class consciousness. That's lovely. Some categories cannot be escaped, he said. He said, you cannot escape the body that you're in. You cannot escape the heritage that you have. You cannot escape some things. And if we're not aware of that, we're going to get confused into thinking that we can synthesize all over the place. But if I synthesize something that is fixed, I create a block in the structure. Synthesis, honor your mother and father. Yes, Echo. Oh my goodness me, yes. All of this is for my mother and my father. I'm actually in a process of decoding the Voynich Manuscript. Let me show you. And then maybe we can get to like playing with some cards and stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of the Voynich Manuscript. This has never been able to be translated ever. A couple weeks ago, I opened it up for 2 hours and have already deciphered many parts. I'm not looking at the words because I don't do math. Words are going to make me have to do math. I just do geometry and pictures. Do you see how there's this, like, look at that. There's little, they're like milkmaids. In the land of taxonomies, which has to do with categorizing based on how the structure grows or would grow, not based on, here's the chief executive and the vice president, not a flow chart. A taxonomy is kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. But these mean something. The blue is important. The green is important. There is, let me show you some of this. So like here, I just want you to see that I'm doing this because I think I want to start a GoFundMe so that y'all can contribute to this. Look. So what this is me deciphering the length of these symbols, which in everything that I've been looking at, people are just looking at the symbols. They're also trying to map this to pre-existing languages when this is clearly either a made-up language or such a fake language that you're guaranteed to be misdirected, which, by the way, is how Taoist alchemy operates. The law, the one law. This is going to be very important for us coming into 2025. For real. The one law is that the Tao that can be named is not the Tao. So that does not mean that the Tao cannot be named. That means that anything I name suddenly becomes propaganda. So if you're familiar with the concept of like worshiping the written word from certain kinds of political science ideas, Taoism is very much not into the written word. It's very much into the experience of, let me see. Oh, here we go. So like here I have these star charts have been called star charts, but they're also about the spin in our body. They have to do with like growth and decay. There's all kinds of stuff here about our kidneys, our spleen, the process of menstruation. Thank you. So I thought, oh, yes, let's have that be the backdrop for the Lo Shu. Then it is fully galactic and also will be very confusing for all the spider web bots that are looking for things. People are going to be looking for things in the US soon, more than they already are. So let's have a way to discuss health and wellness and vitality through myth, which is how the Taoists do it anyway, and then attach it to something super cool. The Voynich Manuscript, which, by the way, the Voynich, so Voynich as a word is Old German for the way, not the way. The rule of Tao, the Tao that can be named is not the Tao. I already know like 3 things about this manuscript just by looking at that. I don't know if anybody paid attention. There's a very clear rule that A.M. Nil or one other responsible person in place of her is supposed to be the decipherer, not a government. Am I responsible? I don't know, but I'm very, very clever. So we might as well have some fun. I'm going to eat a little. Just see if anybody has any questions or if we want to start playing with some of these Lo Shus or talk about your ears, talk about dimensionality, plasma, also time crystals. There's another state of matter after plasma, friends. And let's also be happy I'm finally getting my hair cut this week. It's been way too long. The state of matter after plasma is time crystals. I heard that and I thought, oh my goodness, we spend time in the crystal palace in Taoist alchemy, creating time crystals. I will demonstrate it to you and talk through it. You're welcome to join or watch. It's not like a freaky scary. It's literally just your brain. It's your brain. Tea, my cats don't knock over. So the crystal palace is, if you think about a line going straight down from your crown chakra in through the middle ear, like where those would meet, in the middle of the brain, there's a big cluster of glands that are super important. Hypothalamus, thalamus, pituitary, pineal is in there too. So what we do is smile with your tongue on the ridge of your teeth, the ridge of your upper teeth. And then imagine you're smiling to the center of your brain. If you can visualize, that's amazing. This color is going to be cyan in nature. It's going to be pretty blue. And just bringing the attention to the center of the brain, that's our midbrain. That's the area in our brain where we experience the flow of cerebral spinal fluid, particularly. And it's also where our corpus callosum, which is very much like our corpus callosum is reflected in our sensory motor cortex. It's like a headband. So when we're smiling, we're also like smiling up to the space between the skull and the brain, which is one of the locations that physics is contemplating. Oh, where does consciousness exist? So you just smile to your brain. They had it all figured out. So the brain area is Shen, S-H-E-N. Let me see if I have. There we go. So the brain is Shen. And then the second area is your whole heart space. The area is everything from your collarbone to your low back. From collarbone to belly, chi. This is where our inner child lives. He's illustrated in the charts. It is shown as a boy. It's okay. You can be a girl. You could be a not either. Totally cool, but it's how it's displayed. Very likely because the peen is directly involved in creating a new human. And this color is like magenta of when you're on a beach or you're in an ocean and you see the sun rising or setting, and there's that little band of like pink and fuchsia that shows up in the sun. They call that yang, like fire on water. Just the reflection. That's chi, prana, life force, charisma, also tummy aches. So we're just very nice to this area. And then the third zone is from your belly button to your pubic bone. So it'd be like low back to the to your seat. This is every part of our, like all of our the viscera of digestion, our reproduction, the experience of elimination and waste. Oh my goodness, if anybody else has broken a tailbone, we're going to smile there. I did that as a kid. And you just send your smile down. If down and in is comfy for you today, you can send it down and in. Right now, I just want to send it down. And then while you're sending it down, you can feel where you're sitting or landing on something with your bum. I call it sense of bum. And the energy here, this is Jing, this is yellow. So just kind of ease out of that. I hope somebody was there with me. Oh, I'm so happy you're here, Chronic. I love you, or your videos. You, I don't know you. Hopefully I do. If I know you and you were mean to me, I might not. So here is the stack. It's not an order, it's a stack. Okay? If you are an ADHDer who lives through piles on the floor, you know how important it is to stack so that your hinges don't fall over. That's all it is. So Jing, Qi, and Shen. They're called the three treasures. And I have colors for you to associate them with. If I can, oh, here it is. All right. Here is Jing, Qi, and Shen. A few different ways. Okay. Jing, Qi, and Shen are not given colors or shapes in anything I've been able to find. I haven't really been looking, but I've been in this system for about 40 years. So I turned them into CMY. because this speaks to perception, right? So if you've ever seen a CMY cube, I had to get out a the CMY cube is going to look different colors. This is all triangles based on what you're looking at, which one you're seeing. In the body, though, this is all it is. So the colors are only, we can only perceive colors with light. Okay, and I chose this in part because I thought this was the fifth platonic solid. Hello, I didn't realize he made man the this one. That's a lot going on there, dude. All we need is this. You need three dimensions and a place to sit to exist on the planet, which really brings a lot of meaning now for me into pyramids. Like, were they aware? And then does the underside of a pyramid mirror that? But important to remember is that what you see and perceive as color is because of your eyes, not because of the thing that exists. We spend a lot of time deciding that our eyes are the right thing. I'll believe it when I see it. What if the perception of it is more subtle? Right? So if I have Jing, Qi, and Shen, Jing, Qi, and Shen, these, by the way, are the same as the three lines on a trigram. The bottom, middle, and upper line in a trigram. These are different sizes because I want you to see that these will always have different weights. They weigh different things. So this is the heaviest, Jing. Shen is the lightest. Qi is active. Solid, liquid, gas. I wish you could hear the dog downstairs is having a meltdown. So Jing Qi Shen, oh my goodness. Jing Qi Shen, oh my goodness, wait a minute. And then there's people that are like this, Jing Qi Shen. And then some people, we don't even believe that they're like, worthy of consciousness. And we call them very bad names just because the consciousness occurs differently. So China has tons of room for variability and diversity, or divergence. Neurodivergence is one of the words that I don't like. As a taxonomy human, as a person who essentially exists as a zoologist of consciousness, and most of what I do for technology. No, it's not divergent. It's not wrong. It's different. It's a variability factor of our species. So the taxonomy I'm bringing through has ordinary brains, irregular brains, extraordinary brains, and N brain, BRANE. N brain, BRANE, is all physics. Ordinary has to do with the 5 elements of Chinese medicine, which show up in the Chinese zodiac as earth, fire, water, metal, and wood. And the Chinese zodiac is based on stem cells. Can you believe that? It's incredible. So wood rat, this is lovely. It starts with rat, aligned with your purpose. Rats are clever. I have to look at how China describes them in their cosmology. Wood, however, has to do with absorption and growth. And the two organs that wood is associated with are our liver and our gallbladder. So that inner smile, healing smile, does the thing where I smile and then I have my Chen, Qi, and Jing. Fuck if I know. Katie said it's green, blue, and pink. CMY. Truly, because this is how it's described. It's the uncarved block. So, like, one person would be however many of these it takes to make a square, a round with a square. That's a lot of tiles. I don't know how they do it in physics because you have to like fold sheets. I think they do it based on bumblebee wings. I thought they would do it based on bat wings, but they do it based on bumblebees. So the people who are sending all the rocket ships up into space are looking at earthly creatures to understand their science. But then, my friends, then they think that means that they understand, right? Oh, now that we can do this, that means I understand. No, that just means you can do it. Ew. Ew, gross. Seriously, we have much more awareness of dimension, like the third dimension, than our bodies are built for. Our bodies are built like for this, not for brain chips, Mr. Musk. Oh, also, I might be going to a labor camp when I grow up, so that would be nice. I won't have to worry about food. That's coming down the pike. So we're just not going to talk about those things. And look at, oh my goodness, it's a metal pig. First of all, look at that little metal pig of love. Do you see those are like two people? And this has an 8 in it. So we can now talk about the number 8 or the infinity concept. So I first want to say this is illustrating, not Tantra, it's illustrating like, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, wink. Metal in China is the analog of space in Tibet, meaning the Buddha brought Buddhism to China. And now that I've found the better of the academic databases, it might be the fact that a Buddha defected and turned into Lao Tzu. Because the timing of Buddhism coming to China and Taoism starting and all of the inner alchemy of Taoism is Buddhist. Pretty cool. Thank you. I love that. I don't have to go so far away. I can just continue to not know. How can I know the origins? I wasn't there when Siddhartha sat under a tree. None of us were there when Newton sat under a tree and an apple fell on his head, but look at the impact he had. So, metal and 8. Yeah, it feels good. All my COVID tests have been negative so far. And I'm not getting worse. And it's been too long now for me to get any other medication. I don't even know if they would give it to me now. This is Taoist art. Most of it is in Chinese and Japanese. But I want to show you. Okay, this is Tokyo. This is Japan. There was a lot of parallel development. This is a mirror. This is a mirror from medieval Japan. So Japan and China also had their whole alchemical thing happening. Isn't that incredible? That was reflective. We have microscopes and telescopes and stethoscopes and so many scopes, but the scope of human is about maybe up to 7 feet, right? we experience 72 feet or 72 stories looking down on New York. That's not our natural orientation. Our natural orientation is like within a house. Again, I'm not making a judgment. I'm just saying it really influences how we contemplate things like up. Seriously. So these are Taoist immortals. When you become successful, you age. That's the one that I have in my environment. Here he is looking at a pathway. They're not shown as like, gorgeous gods and goddesses. They're old and stinky. Look at this one. He has, oh my goodness, what does he have? Well, this is Ming Dynasty, so you know it's fancy, fancy. Look, he has a little thing. He's a little critter. That's so cute. So all of the somatics that I instruct, whether or not I say so outright, they're all speaking to this experience. Oh, that might be the 9 palaces. Hold on, that might be the 9 sections of the brain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Huh. Maybe not. Oh, look at this one. He is don't know. They don't say what he is, but look. He's like got a sombrero or a hat on fire. That's probably fire and wind. The dragons in China. The dragons in China come in 3 different classes. One of them is imperial, and they have 5 toes. 5-toe dragons emanate from the middle of the Lo Shu grid. So 5-toe dragons are they're like where it all starts for us. And so the number 5 in Taoist cosmology maps to the 5 organs, the 5 elements. We'll start there: fire, water, metal, wood, and earth. Yes, I always forget I'm part of the problem and the solution and the equation. It's a hazard of autism. So 5 means earth. So it's also 5 dimensions. So this Lo Shu grid shows 11 dimensions as 9 because of what we can do with this 1 with numerology. So once I get to 10, that's 1. 11, 2, 12, 3, 13, 14, 15, or 16, 17, 18, 19 is 0. Uh-oh. That's 10. Uh-oh. Oh, good. 19. So is that base 9, base 8? I don't know. But you can use this to count. And each of these cells has its own meaning. So 5 means the 4 cardinal directions as human. 6 has to do with our extraordinary organs, which are the gallbladder, our bones, our brain, our vessels, our bone marrow, and the uterus. But not every human has a uterus. And can I tell you, these ladies that invented the alchemy of the inside, they were very kind about that. So all of the Taoist alchemy, Neidan alchemy, centers the experience, feeling into the experience of having space, expand, fill, release, space, expand, fill, release, which is very much what a period does, But not every uterus works. Not every uterus works that way. Not every woman has a uterus. So this is a way to practice the pathways of energy without obligating your body to have the parts. That is so parallel to the way Chinese medicine uses metal in the needles to assist the flow of lymph in our soft tissue, in our fascia, not our muscles, our fascia. And fascia is not studied by Western medicine at all, at least not as though it matters. We need to change that. Okay. I have tried with Western medicine. I have sparred with the APA, the AMA, the ADA. I'm trained by the inventor of polyvagal theory and all of his best friends who are all there. The tissue isn't alive in these models. Our tissue is alive. That's why it hurts. Not because it's hard to monetize, because of the slave trade. It's become a full blind spot. There were some cultural events in the late 20th, mid 20th century after World War II that made a big difference as well. So maybe it is hard to monetize, but I would say it's impossible to perceive. So like women's pain, can I tell you, I have a sniffle. I'm not going to leave my house for a week because I have like a shit immune system. And no, I don't want COVID. Thank you very much. So, but when I go to the doctor and I say something about pain, and then they take a test, right? They take your blood test and they say, well, the numbers are fine. I don't know what's wrong with you. Getting an IUD doesn't hurt. Stop being so whatever. You know why getting an IUD doesn't hurt? Because the history of experimentation on living bodies to determine things. So yeah, it's a full blind spot, total blind spot that has been is EMDR like jail? First of all, psychiatry is jail, the field. Polyvagal theory, EMDR probably works better because it's getting at the cross lateral. What we don't have in anything is a helical. To have a helical, we would have to have a pericardium and fascia, and also a willingness to have some stuff that's true and works not be measurable. Seems like the boys, okay, boys like boys, not men, okay, but they're all, we had this little thing start to happen in the beginning of the 20th century, bigly, and it is called circumcision. And so we have a birth wound of belly button, and then half the population has a primary adverse childhood experience near birth that is painful. And in most expressions, not ritual. So like, I personally do not agree with it. I do understand my Jewish friends' understanding of it as ritual. Babies, yes, you don't grow nerves, my friends. So there are myths. The cervix doesn't have pain receptors. How else is a lady to know if there's something wrong with the cervix? Bones don't go that way. Well, they do if a body is hypermobile. And the first test, the first image that we're given is an X-ray. It's always of the bones. It's never of anything around or soft. And so if you've had the Western medicine experience of pain, you're in pain, you have to prove you're in pain, you have to be in pain long enough, then you get maybe an X-ray. Then you have to stay in pain, and then you get an MRI, and then you just go back to physical therapy. Oh, because there's nothing we can do. It's in your soft tissues. That was my total experience with hospitals and medical until I had breast cancer in 2020. I had no clue the profundity of objectification in that process. Oh my goodness me. I was talking to somebody who went to medical school, or no, pre-med, and she was discussing how her peers experienced autopsies and dissections. And yeah, a lot of them were very like cavalier and just couldn't wait to get through and like didn't care. And then this person was talking about how much she was grateful for the donor and like would talk to them, and the profundity of there are 2 cuts. I knew there was one, because the last breath of a human is an exhale, but there's still turgidity in the tissues. So there's probably one way when you go into these experiences as anatomists where you experience the last something, but the last heartbeat, I was amazed to discover in this conversation that people would come from like all over to see the heart cut, because that lets out I'm like, that's the last breath. Like, no matter what they do to preserve, there's still pressure in the heart. What? That is so amazing. That pressure is the only reason that CPR works. And that's because of the pericardium. Nobody looks at the pericardium anymore. So we have circumcision. Okay. Nobody's looking at the pericardium. As of 1965, 66, in rapid intubation and life support is standard in fighting with other nations. It's standard. So the whole experience of going to war changed. Then we had the Veterans Administration start in the 80s. I'm a Gen X girl. All of this factors into how you and I perceive consciousness today, because the more you can push a human, the farther away death gets. It gets farther and farther away. It's easier to manipulate. And then what our doctors don't tell us when we go to the hospital, by the way, they don't tell you what a code is. They just ask if you want one. A full code is aggressive intervention into your brain, specifically, in a very cool way, but also it is very aggressive. CPR pushes cerebral spinal fluid into the brain. So you're not like kickstarting the heart, you're restarting the brain. I'm not sure that the man who invented it knew that, Peter Safar. He was adult. I was around for a long time. When I was a kid, he helped raise me. He was the most kind man. He told my mother, they never come back the same, blah, blah, blah. And I thought he was talking about just regular heart attacks. No, he was talking about Vietnam. That's fire. So let's look at the fire snake. Living from the heart. Fire is heart. Okay, but it comes 2 ways. It comes this kind of fire and it comes this kind of fire. Magenta fire is pericardium. Magenta fire is inner child. Red fire, snake. This is actually this is a phoenix in the inner charts. Okay, that is being able to ward off an infection. That is being able to provide heat through the use of fire. Because when these were designed, okay, contemplate, we have to contemplate when these came to be. Your understanding of Western alchemy will become much more balanced if you contemplate like the first ones, not the ones who are selling you books. Get the books if you want, but go contemplate the first ones. All they had was like a compass, a sextant, a mirror, and a piece of paper and a candle. And they figured out everything. So fire goes with our heart, and it is accompanied with the sound ha. And that ha is like, oh, I'm so glad I let all of that hate and anger out. Oh, I feel so good. But not cathartic freak out, like just like a end of the day. It's like that. And so that helps to temper the heat without putting out the fire. So a polyvagal theory, somebody had asked about polyvagal being jail. Psychiatry is jail. Psychiatry is jail because it's tied to the courts in our hospital systems, not because I don't like psychiatry. I use psychiatry. I will very likely have to go inpatient again before I have my final recurrence of cancer. We need it. And it's jail. So EMDR occurs through psychiatry. But the fire of the heart, something's really very cool about China and Chinese alchemy. It's based on weaving across and through dimensions. It's based on a needle pulling thread, a particle, a wave, and a string. My physics folks who think that the Taoists couldn't understand because they didn't have big computers. Anyway, this is Shen on the inside. Shen, Qi, and Jing. Yay. Qi zone is here. Also here is my heart. My heart is also named Shen. So there's a connection from heaven to human through the heart. This is earth, human, heaven. That also means this is my soul, my spirit, my whatever you understand it to be, is already in this system to be placed in alignment with where you come from. These now magic beans. You can call these magic beans. But the purpose of the Taoist alchemy is neutral. Like neutral in a pH sense, right? That there's not too much acidity or alkalinity. Contrary to what you might have been told, you cannot change the alkalinity of your organs with the water you drink. You have acid in your stomach, hydrochloric acid. It passes through your stomach. Maybe if you put it in your veins, but I don't think I would want to do that personally. So Shen of the heart, you could contemplate if you want the Shen of the head and the Shen of the heart. This is then also all of the vital essence of the organs that passes through us when we pass away is unbound to gravity. Because this is consciousness. So how relaxing is that? I find that very relaxing. From a numbering perspective, I don't know much about Morse code, but the Bagua, I mean, these trigrams are definitely code. I have the 5 crossed out because in the Bagua, there is no 5. So the Bagua and the Lo Shu are different. And one of them is for you personally, and one of them is universally, galactically perfected all the time. I go by universal galactic perfection. I'm going to show you right now. What is Bagua? Bagua is 8. So Bagua is this is, I'm not a good this, but here's the Bagua. It's the 8-sided thing. And then the Bagua has, they're called trigrams. So the first section of the Bagua is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's no 5 in the Bagua. It's typically shown as having a yin and a yang in the middle. So octahedron, thank you for knowing the names. Yes. So the Bagua is almost always displayed with the yin and the yang in the center. Yin and yang it's a thumbtack. That's all it is. It's a place to put a location. And so what the Bagua does is it says you are the location, not my map, not me, not the map you're on, but you personally are the location. So if I'm contemplating your organs, your body Bagua, I'm not going to have to worry about the number 5 because your organs are 5. Your organs are the 5 elements. These 5 elements, this is like middle C on a piano. So this is treble, bass. This would be the experience of like treading water, swimming with the current, swimming against the current. This would also be, this is a family. This is father, mother, eldest, son, middle son, lower son, however they do that. It's also every time we hit an 8, numerologically, we have to make sure in alchemy that we know where Earth is. This is why I've never done anything with Bagua Morningstar till I accidentally invented the way to do it with 9 and not have to do math. It's like sometimes I'm so fascinated by my own clever. I also invented Babylonian math. It's a binary numeric system. That's all it is. I swear, learning how to do programming and linguistics has been a very, very good thing for me, but also for us. Because this 5, okay, in the 8 is, from a big brain physics perspective, Friedrich Capra, I'm just looking for a device. Friedrich Capra is one of the first physics that my mother introduced me to. I'm realizing it's a lot of this is her fault because she had these books on her in her library when I was a kid. My mother had Taoism and physics books. I don't know if she had them for her or for me, but she left them for me to find. Friedrich Capra wrote The Tao of Physics. And he also he wrote that the Taoists lacked the precision of measurement that physics has, to which my response is, once you hit a circle, you're in infinity, so stop. That was Archimedes, by the way. But anyway, Friedrich Capra writes about a turning point. A turning point in physics is whatever that is, but a turning point in point shoes is this, right? A turning point on a clock is this. It's fulcrum. It's a fulcrum point. I think that's the mechanical engineering of it. When your Chinese medicine doctor puts a tiny little needle into your skin, okay, as metaphor, that becomes a turning point. And you can always know for sure what direction it's going to go from that middle to the with the flow or against the flow because of the shen in the organs, take care of the labor, and also because of where these different points are positioned. I don't know if you've ever had a little bit of that there. There's it's amazing. They're doing computer programming. It's so cool. It's like switchboards. This is why I would love for you to stop looking at human design. Or maybe somebody can help me turn it into a saleable thing for me to translate your human design, because he has all that currency, literal current of fire mapped onto your vital organs, and he only gives you the spleen and the heart. That is all that is going to give you is dry heat. And then how many of these folks are also believing in Kundalini rising? Morning Star. Human design. Yes, he took the I Ching and turned it into a map. My design took my own healing of my brain and turned it all the way back into everything. Lovely. I just cannot take that seriously. And I would very much love you to contemplate deeply looking at those maps superimposed. That's a target. Okay? No, it's not a ray of life. It's a body shape. It's shaped like a body. But also, we don't perceive light on the inside. So the CMY that I have in this model is because we perceive our interaction with something or a response to something. On the inside, who knows? It's only partial. I don't know what that question means. The body, I don't, well, first of all, the body graph is not something that I'm in. That's awesome. Does it refer you out to other teachers that he learned from and their work, or does it refer you back to yourself? If something comes out fully formed, wholly formed, great. Make it that. Don't tell me that you actually understand the I Ching. That is so, no offense, this is to the guy. That is so offensive. The I Ching book that I use is not Wilhelm, which is the one most people get directed to. It is Richard Wilhelm translated the text that Jung published as The Secret of the Golden Flower. And then in that said, oh, but nobody could ever do this, especially women. So the rule in these systems is that they're not to be kept. They're to be shared. They're to be shown. The Alfred Wong, who did this book, he was born in 1921. He's a professor of Taoist philosophy, former dean of students at Shanghai University, and a third-generation master. Yes, I'm going to read your perspective. Thank you. He was in he was labeled a communist. He used to have to study this in secrecy. It was banned. He was put into labor camps and then a jail by the Chinese. He has some things to say about the I Ching. Who has to reverse what? You shouldn't have to reverse human design. He's telling you exactly what you are. That's bullshit. Like, again, that's just poo-poo. Cyan, gold, magenta, baby. There we are, the golden elixir, the golden triangle, the golden. Okay, well, then it's all based on his remembering of him not being present. So just take it with a grain of it was channeled. I don't know who those people are. Ashana, Dean. Yeah, the Chinese stuff wasn't channeled. It couldn't have been because the alchemy comes from Tibetan Buddhism, which I did not know until I read it in a book last night by one of my favorite translators, Fabrizio Pregadio. Where is it? I found like a wealth of his articles, and so the Buddha came to, or Buddhism came to China during, and then Confucius was also kind of happening, and the women were not happy. Taoism started as a political revolt against Confucianism. Did my reposts? I don't know what that means. Did my reposts help with cancer grief? That's a really good question. I just don't understand it. What repost? I await your response. But cyan, yellow, and magenta specifically are the 3 colors of digital. Yeah, but which repost? TikTok? Truly, I don't have any short-term memory, really. Okay. If it works for you, it works for you. I will never, ever, ever, ever permit a man to put a map on me, ever. Especially if he won't tell me where he got it. Bashir. Bullshit. Mm-mm. That is straight up guru tactic. Yeah. Morning Star, I have a boundary, okay? Because these are cells, CELL. It's boy math. I don't subscribe anything to men or women. It's all boys and girls. I do girl physics. It's just practical physics. I do it as art. I don't do boy physics. Boy physics tells me I have to be able to measure infinity to such precision. No, you don't. You need it's there. So cool. I thought that Morningstar, I'm probably not going to be responding directly to you for a little bit, and I just don't want you to think that I'm rude. I just want to be like more because you're asking very good questions. You don't believe it. Yeah, man's theory. So boy math and girl math. Boy physics, girl alchemy. Okay. Girl alchemy is the Voynich Manuscript. Where did I put it? This is so female coded, female body coded. Like one of the images in here showing, let me find it. I already have this like pretty marked up, but look at this. Like, what is this? Look at that. Okay. I am starting a GoFundMe because I can translate this. And then with the GoFundMe, I will give you art and stuff and classes. So you actually get something and you don't have to, hope that it finishes. Look at this. Look up there. I know what that means. I don't know what it says. I know what it means. It's a very specific scale. It's not an 8-note scale. There are several different kinds of scales illustrated in here, like music scales. And I've not played the instruments that they had in medieval Germany, but I've played enough pre-piano instruments to also understand that. I'm a classically trained pianist. Look at this. Look at that. Never has been, look, that's a worm. Never has been translated. They immediately, like, I don't know the story about all the translations. It says very clearly that only a person who can think like I am nil, like I am nothing, can translate it. Voynich itself translates to the way, not the way. The Tao that can be named is not the Tao. Girl alchemy. Yes. Yes, girl alchemy. So on Sundays now, I'm doing a Sunday at noon. Everybody should like let me figure out how to get your email addresses so I can become an email list. The neurodivergent way. Do you know how I understand this, Morning Star? My first title was neuroaffective somatics, neuroaffective. Thank you. I hope I know where I have it. That's my goal for today. It'll take me all afternoon. But my first thing was neuroaffective somatics, the Zitterbart way. Like this is how I do it. Neuroaffective somatics, the Morning Star way, the Bob way, the whatever way. Because hey, guess what? You're a little baby child on the Star Bridge, and your pericardium, your second heart fire, the fem fire, is where we connect to all the dimensions of everywhere in the whole universe. The picture on the chart, this is a color version. You get variations of this. There's a $20, truly, there's a $20 course in my Stand store that gives you everything you need for proper confusion and actual learning. So it's like a library. It's a multimedia library. It's all stuff I've written and taught. Here we go. Okay, so that's your inner child. That's the child on a bridge. Child on the Star Bridge. He's a Milky Way. He's fishing with the Dipper, the Big Dipper. There are 7 stars in the Big Dipper. Even though this is not a system of chakra, it has the 7, and it has the 7 in the visible light spectrum realm. This would be ultraviolet, infrared, visible. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you found my Instagram. Nobody ever finds my Instagram. I suck at Instagram. That's wonderful. I'm glad you're there. I want to be moving a lot of this. Like I'm also doing live on YouTube right now so that as things start to shift in 2025, you can find me. Do you see the 2 eyes? I'm going to say goodbye over here. I'll see you guys soon. Bye. I can't handle 2.